Today we'll begin with a new chapter, that is chapter 33, which is about Rudraksha Mahima. This chapter describes Rudraksha Mahima and illustrates upon the merit earned by those who wear Rudrakshas on their bodies. Very good morning. Jai Shri Krishna Guru. Thank you for joining Shri Guru Charitra Satsang. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Om Shri Saraswataya Namaha, Om Shri Guru Dattatreya Namaha, Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Guru Charitra Satsang. Siddha Muni continued his narrative explaining to Namdarak the power of Rudraksha. When the Tapasvi gave to the woman 4 Rudrakshas and asked her to tie them on the body of her dead husband, the woman asked him what purpose it would serve. This is again a story in continuation to the previous one where Savitri was given this Rudraksha by Siddha Muni to be tied to the dead body of her husband. The Tapasvi, who was Gurunath himself in reality, told her briefly Rudraksha Mahima and also Rudrabhisheka Mahima. Wearing of Rudraksha and applying Vibhuti on the forehead confer great sanctity to the wearer. They are most purifying and ward off all evil. None can harm the wearer, and even the Lord of Death would keep away from him. They confer happiness in his life and ensure happiness in the life beyond. The Tapasvi narrated the following story to illustrate the power of the Rudraksha. There lived in Kashmir once upon a time a king named Bhadrasena. He had a son named Sudharma. His minister-in-chief also had a son named Taraka. Sudharma and Taraka were of nearly the same age, and they grew up in closest friendship. Each loved the other very much, and they used to be always together. They both were highly devoted to Lord Shankara. Instead of wearing princely jewelry and ornaments, they used to wear Rudraksha malas and also used to apply prominent Vibhuti marks on their foreheads, as both Rudrakshas and Vibhuti are believed to be very dear to Lord Shankara, that is Lord Shiva. Their parents, however, were not happy about the ascetic tendency of their sons from such a tender age. See, because as a king's son, they want their children to become the prince and learn all the trades, art of war, everything to rule the kingdom, so that they can carry forward, ruling the kingdom after the king, gives up the throne to their son. To his son. Once Parasara Rishi came to the court of Bhadrasena. The king received him with great honor and veneration. The king told him of his worry about his son, who was taking to ascetic ways of life, even at such an early age. This is the same story of Gautam Buddha, where Siddharth Gautam was his name and he became Gautam Buddha. His father was very worried that his son will become a sage or a monk, which was already predicted by some great sages, rishis, the Raj Rishis. But his father did not want to, believe into it. He said, I will protect my son. I will keep him away from everything that will make him become a ascetic. So, what he did, that is Gautam Buddha's father, removed all the poverty here, from the kingdom. He moved away people with afflictions, those who were suffering, to a far off distance where his son was never exposed to any such thing. Whereas one who already is supposed to become divine, you can try as much as you want from keeping them away from the truth. The truth will reveal itself to them one fine day when the divine time, the Lord's appointed timing arrives. Nobody can stop from them achieving what they have to, or attaining that God realization. This is the truth about life. See, the reason why he was trying to keep his son away is because as a king, he wants his son to become the future king. He wants to carry forward their, the throne, and rule the world, rule the kingdom, rule the world, rule the people. So he wants him to become a ruler. So for them, it is their selfish, motivated interest. But the divine Lord Almighty's will, can anybody go against that? Nobody can go. See, Maya is very strong. You need to understand these are the illusions. You can keep Gautam Buddha as much as you want within that, the riches, the glorious, all the pompous of the kingdom, the kingly way, but it can't take him out of what he's seeking. There is something far beyond all the power of Maya, the power of illusion, and that is the divine power. That divinity, the power of the divinity is extremely strong, and those who have to attain that God realization cannot be kept into the world of Maya. They will actually be drawn towards that, that seeking, that finding their self, seeking who truly they are, seeking the God realization. The truth about life is what they will go after. So in this case also, Parashar Rishi is telling the king that he should not feel worried at all, but instead rejoice at the devotional temperament and conduct of the prince and his friend. Exactly. He then said that it was because of the great merit they had earned in the previous lives that they were born in this life with such devotional temperament, especially with fascination and attachment to the holy Rudrakshas. It's very difficult to attain that spiritual fervor or even some attachment or leaning towards God. It's very easy for us to get carried away with the worldly ways, but to have that devotional temperament, to have that leaning towards the bhakti for whatever the ishta, whether it is Rudraksha, they're wearing a Rudraksha and they are devoted to Lord Shankara, or they're devoted to Vishnu, whatever that is, just to have that leaning is very difficult. So here Parashar Rishi is telling some merit they have done. That is why they have the devotional temperament. It is not so easy to attain devotion. It is not so easy to come on the path of spirituality. I was telling someone yesterday that it is very rare, and only with the divine grace, the Guru's grace, and only with his will can one is to come in the presence of the Guru. Second is, only with the divine will of the great Lord Almighty, the Guru himself, can they have an audience with him. Getting that grace is very difficult. When we have a guru, we think it is our birthright that we have this liberty, and that's how our life is supposed to meant to be. We take it for granted that our audience with the guru is just like the way it is supposed to be. We are not valuing what we have. We must value what we have. So I was telling one of the disciples of my Krishna Guruji, saying, in one of the chapters, I was quoting this chapter in which Narasimha Saraswati had very beautifully explained how only with the divine grace can they come in the presence of the great master. And second thing, to have an audience with him, it has to only be the will of him, the Lord Almighty, the Guru himself. Otherwise, nobody can have an audience with him. So we don't understand what we have in our life, and we still think that, oh, this is how, we're still trying to recognize this divine being, we're still trying to know who he is. That is what we are seeking. He said, I want to get an experience, but I asked him, how much can you cry for Krishna? Can you cry more than anything else for him? Can you shed your tears? Can you get that devotional, that devotion, saying, Lord, you are the one? Just saying I'm taking Lord's name, yeah, it is a good thing. I'm not even disputing any of those things. Yes, at least somebody is making an effort. You're making that effort. You're doing that. But don't say that, yeah, you can ask. Your seeking is your right, your birthright. You have to seek. But you know what? Getting it or not getting it, or somebody receiving or not receiving it, is only the divine will. At the end of the day, he's the one who decides who needs to get what, and he's the one who confers that blessing and that grace. Like my Lord Lord Shri Krishna says, and my Krishna Guruji has very nicely explained in Bhagavad Gita, Uddhav Gita, I name it. Nobody can know Krishna. And I'm not even going to give that grace, simply because first you have to show me your deservability. You need to earn that. How does deservability come about? It is not telling that I want to experience you in your real form. I want to experience, I want to see this. No, it's not about demanding. It's first about giving him, giving your bhakti, giving him your love, showing how much you are devoted to the divine, how much the Lord means to you in your life. Can you put the divine ahead of everybody, even before yourself, and say, he's number one in my life. After him only everybody else come. Can you do that first? When you do that, see, and without even any expectation, what is the love here all about? Unconditional. When you can give that unconditional love, and when the divine Lord feels that you are ready to receive that grace or experience, he will on his own confer that grace upon you. So for it is your job to seek, it is your job to keep your quest, it is your job to have that bhakti continuously. But you cannot demand anything. Yes, you have to seek with the Lord. You have to say, God, I want to experience you. You have to keep asking. Someday he will finally, when the time is right, when he has to reveal or give you that experience, he will give. And nobody can understand who gets it, why they get it, how they get it. No one can understand. When I came into spirituality, my Krishna Guruji used to, it's a very strange way things happen. And I don't even know how to adequately again describe or put it in words, but I'll try to explain. I didn't know who Lord Shri Krishna was. I just know he's, like I said, my association was only to that aspect of Mahabharata. Beyond that, I don't know anything about Lord Shri Krishna. Because my parents have never taught me anything about it. They themselves don't know. They might have known whatever, but they never made an effort to teach us. That's the sad part. And being an ignorant being, I didn't know who God really was. So, or my aspect of God was equivalent to going to different temples, doing rituals and worshipping him. But every temple that I've worshipped, I've only worshipped Lord Vishnu, I worshipped Lord Shivji. Whatever the reason might be, I don't know. So, there was different temples in India that I have been to. Yes, it has been a grace or a privilege to be there. And today when I look back, I'm amazed. Oh my God, I had such beautiful grace of the divine Lord Almighty. I was able to visit such holy places, but unfortunately, it's not in my memory anymore. I can't remember unless and until the divine himself wants to visit, like my Krishna Guruji has to visit. I will be reminded of that particular temple, and then we would visit that place, but not otherwise. But there is a real truth about that each holy temple place or holy temples we visit, there is a spiritual significance. And this is what I've never understood. Why? Because we're all ignorant beings. And then when I came into spirituality, my Krishna Guruji slowly started explaining. The first time he did Bhagavad Gita, you wouldn't believe, I literally would doze off, because he would give me some of the scientific examples or explanations relating to science, and then telling how, in science, how logic works, and in spiritual, or in the truth about God, it's more about faith. But for me, when he gives me the scientific examples, I would say, please, I used to fall asleep. I would tell him, look, my brain doesn't understand, my mind doesn't understand. Why don't you just tell me the stories about these divine beings? So he would narrate some of the most beautiful stories, and that was something that triggers within. And because you're able to at that time receive, you're ready to receive that, and that is the moment you walk that path, and then that is the truth, that is the truth. Something within your innermost being is accepting to everything, and the bhakti opens up, the devotion opens up. Even though I might have not worshipped Lord Shri Krishna, yes, I have worshipped all other forms, Mahavishnu, his different forms, one who's sleeping on the Adishesh. We call him, Sri Ranganath, the Anant, the one who's on the Anant, who's like, we also tell him about Anant Sayanam. He's Padmanabha Swami, Sri Ranganatha. So different names you address him. So he's Narayana. So whatever the form, so I've been worshipping them. I always have this love, an attraction over there, not knowing why, what, you don't know. But when you meet the Guru, that opens up. So at that time, my Krishna Guruji said something very beautiful. And then when he was teaching me, he would give me examples about different experiences other people had. So for me also, it's a trigger. Look, I want experience. I want experience. The reason why the gurus do that is not to, try to make you feel jealous, or may you try to compete with somebody. No, he wants you to increase. He wants you to grow in your devotion. You have to become so devoted. What is it you can do for Lord Shri Krishna? So that becomes like a competition among the devotees. I want to do this for my Gurudev. I want to do this for my Krishna. But please understand, at the end of the day, God is to each his own. And it's not about competing with somebody else. You have to compete with yourself. How much can your love and devotion grow? Because love and devotion is like Athanga Sagar. And when it's Athanga Sagar, it is limitless. So you have to go deeper, deeper, deeper. And in that, how much do you crave for the divine? What can you do for the divine? That is what the divinity wants to see. Is your love unconditional? Is your love exclusive? And do you have absolute faith? And can you completely surrender? This is what Lord Shri Krishna seeks in his devotee. He doesn't want anything else. He doesn't want your wealth, money, nothing. He doesn't even care about all this. You can't give the master of this universe anything from his own garden. All you can do is pluck 2 flowers and give him. And please, and also very important, don't ever go and ask God, no, God, what can I give you? You think God is going to tell you I need this? He doesn't even care about it. You know what? His Ashtasiddhis, his 64 yoginis are always around him. This entire universe, Prakriti, is waiting to serve his, her master. She's always adheen to him. She's waiting there to take care of his needs. Everything is magical in his word. There is nothing that is ever, that is not there with the guru or the divine being, but they don't want it. They just one thought and it is already there with them. That is the power. So never ever even ask. You have to offer. It is always an offering, that which comes from the innermost being of your heart. Don't go and ask, what is the gift that I can give? That is done in a material world. You'll go tell your wife, it's your birthday, what gift can I give you? And then your wife, she'll give you a laundry list, the bucket list she'll give you, and that will be endless. So that is material worldly way of doing things. To a divine being, to a great master, to your Ishta, you offer sincerely that which comes from within your heart. That is why Lord Shri Krishna says, even a leaf of tulsi offered with that love, I very happily accept. That is what he wants. That is why he says that, leaf of tulsi is equivalent to that unconditional love. In that there is no desire of yours. In that there is no, we are not attaching the value to it, a dollar value to that. See, believe me, the divinity or these great masters don't give a damn about your dollar, whatever your money. It's like, sorry to say this, shit and the money is equivalent to it. Sorry for that language, but that is the truth about life. It's both equal. It doesn't matter. To them, there's no value in either. That is who they are. So you can't give anything to these great beings. That is why it is about love and devotion. And to get that devotional temperament is His grace. But you have to put your effort, you have to do your sadhana, you have to practice. The grace is conferred on you, but you have to walk that path. It doesn't mean that, yesterday again, see, people are ignorant, so they don't understand. So it is our job to teach. Like my Guruji has been teaching, it is my job today. He's instructed that I need to expand, give exposition, do the satsang. So I am teaching because this is what I have learned from my Guruji. The words are of his wisdom. So I was telling this person, it is not about you asking something, it is about you offering. And also most important, you have to just continue to go ahead in the path. Whatever that you have to get, whatever that you need to do in your world, it will open up at the right timing. There is nothing like, I don't know what I have to do. I didn't know, I got lost this 1 year. I don't know how I'm supposed to go ahead. In one of the satsangs, my Guruji recently, last week, in one of the Uddhav Gita and Bhagavad Gita satsang, he had said, today I have done so many satsangs for the last, 20 plus years. He has done so many satsangs, and most of them, almost of them, of like Bhagavad Gita, Uddhav Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Narad Bhakti Sutra, Guru Charitra, even Guru Charitra, and Sai Baba's Poti, Das, Samarth Ramdas Maharaj's Das Bodh, All these have been recorded, and there is a repository of knowledge. And if those who are really interested will go listen to it, make notes of it, and try to understand, that knowledge will open. It's only through your self effort can you get that knowledge. You have to open the book, you have to read and understand that knowledge. Then only knowledge will open up, not otherwise. Just sitting there doesn't mean anything. And when you meet the Guruji, yes, you have to meet, because he is going to guide you through that path, through that process. To whatever that you have to get, that is all you will get. You can't ask more, or it's not like you can demand. You can't demand anything. The divinity, the divine Lord Almighty know what exactly has to come to you. So at that moment in time, the devotion, I don't know from where it came or what, it grew every single moment. And one day he was my Krishna Guruji was asking me, what does love mean according to you? He said, explain to me. At that time, I was still saying to him that, I will, I'm going to marry Lord Shri Krishna. So the marriage in the material world was out of my life. And for me, it was about marrying Lord Shri Krishna. And I told him, I'm already married to him. I'm going to marry my Lord. See, not understanding what I'm saying. So it was very beautiful. And at that time, he asked me this very beautiful question, what is love according to you? And I told him, when you are in love, I told him, the love grows. The love has to grow every single day. So this is the idea that I had about love. And when I used to explain this in the material world, people have always called me names. They called me, I am insane to talk something like that. They said the love doesn't grow in a material worldly relationship. And I was living in my belief system that when you love someone, when you want to marry, and whoever it is, you've loved somebody, that person, the love with that person has to grow deeper every single day. This is my understanding. And I said, this love is like, see, at that time, I didn't know this Athanga Sagar or limitless ocean. All I would explain is that you will feel so intense. You will have to just look forward for, meeting your beloved. You have to be in love every single day. Life is going to be so romantic. So those were my Cinderella life. That was my imagination of my mind and my pink color glasses. But the love that I was talking about is, I was mentioning the love of Lord Shri Krishna. Not understanding the truth that what I am seeking is not there in the material world. What I was seeking right from day one, I'm seeking the love of the divine. And I was trying to search for this love in material human beings, in the material world, in human beings, whether it is with this body's parents, friends, relatives or whoever. I was trying to seek this and that love. So when this body's parents said, now you have to get married, you have to, we are going to look out for you. I said, yeah. But something was missing. I couldn't find anybody in association to what I was wanting. Because I was not wanting a human being. I was seeking Lord Shri Krishna. So how can I find that God Almighty in a human being? So absolutely not. But that day when this revelation happened, I know I was married to my Lord Shri Krishna. There is nobody from outside in this material world who can give me that. I don't need to physically marry anyone in this material world. This devotion, this aspect of devotion is like that. That love is that. So you cannot seek it in the material world. And also having that devotion itself is a greatest grace of the divine Lord Almighty. And that is when I understood, oh my God, what I was seeking is something which is not in the material world. So to evolve on the path of devotion, you have to strive a lot. You have to go through that lessons. It's a journey. It's a process. It is not just got like that. You have to, it's not even earned. You have to make an effort to love. You have to be so much lost in the divinity. And that is called bhakti. And bhakti doesn't come so easily. People again think the word bhakti, the devotion, means it is something very easy. Oh, morning, I am very devoted to Lord Shri Krishna. I know what? Morning once I'll pray, night once I'll pray. No, I am very devoted. Throughout the day, I am very busy attending to everything else except my divine Lord Almighty. That is not bhakti. And bhakti is very beautiful, and it's a subject that I can go on and on and on. If you even listen to my Krishna Guruji's Narad Bhakti Sutra, in that what is devotion is so beautifully explained. Again, let me tell you, the explanations that you get is only very at a at a very surface level, because to go in deeper in that, you have to study that subject over and over and over and over again and go deeper. It is not so easy just superfluously learning. Today in the world, let me tell you something, it's not anybody and everybody cannot teach Bhagavad Gita or any of these scriptures. There is a method to everything. Only with the divine grace can you impart this knowledge. The words are of the divine master's wisdom. It's not this body who has the knowledge. That is what you need to understand. In one of the chapters, Narsim Saraswati has very beautifully explained, when Bharadwaj Rishi, he himself was asking Brahmadev to give him years of years of life to live, so that he can master the Veda. And what did Brahmadev do when the Veda Mata herself gave an experience to Bharadwaj Rishi by becoming mountains and mountains ranges of this Vedas? How vast, the vastness. And from that, Brahmadeva picked only 3 scriptures, 3 books, and gave it to Bharadwaj Rishi and said, now you go learn. And that itself he couldn't learn. Can anybody say, somebody is the encyclopedia of a knowledge? Of course not. Nobody can become encyclopedia of knowledge. And that too somebody who's just a scholarly person. How can you become, this Panditjis who go and learn about Vedas can only prattle Vedas. Do you think they have a knowledge about that? Nobody has. So we can never have the ego and arrogance of knowledge. And you can't say, I know. My Krishna Guruji will teach me one very important lesson. Never open your mouth and say, I know. The moment you say, I know, that is your ego and arrogance. And when we say, oh yeah, I know. Even when by mistake, absent-mindedly, when I would say, in IPM I did this, I know this, I know what you're saying. Even that is ego. We don't know. Nobody can know, because we're all talking at a very surface level. We don't understand the world, the knowledge in the way we have to understand. See, like Adi Shankaracharya gave this understandings to his disciple. He said, this body can only hold that drop that falls from your... When he said, bring the water from that river, all he was able to carry is few drops. And that is all he said. This is the knowledge I have, just few drops. Can anybody have knowledge? Nobody can. This body is just an instrument. It is used to convey, and we have to put our effort. We have to continue to learn. And you can only learn as much as the divine will, as much as you have to get. That is all the knowledge you will be given. It is not that you can learn everything, but who has the real knowledge? The divine Lord Almighty, the Parabrahma. That is why the Guru is Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, whose knowledge is not bookish knowledge, whose knowledge is self-revealed. It comes from the divine source. The moment the scripture is opened, the words flow from my mouth. Likewise, the moment my Krishna Guruji opens any scripture, he can expound on any scripture on this planet earth. That is who he is. He is Satchidanand. Sat is the truth. Chid is the, Sat Chit Anand is the knowledge and bliss. That is who he is. And so we cannot say that, oh, you know what? He's a scholarly person. No, he's never even opened any scriptures. That is this, recognition of the Guru, who's the Parabrahma himself, not somebody who can give you a scholarly knowledge and read all sorts of books. There are a lot of people in this world who can just, you give them any Vedas, they will mug. They will go and find out all the Wikipedia information, different peoples who have written. They will take all that and then say, oh, this, I have so much knowledge. I can talk about Ramana Maharishi or Ramakrishna Paramahamsaji. I know everything about them. Who is this I who knows? Do you think anybody can know Baba or great saints? You only know as much as somebody has written about them. Has Baba come and given you that understanding of who Baba is? So it is very important to seek that truth. If somebody is a devotee of Lord Shri Krishna, you have to become one with him. You need to, become that divinity. To attain that, you have to completely give yourself and go in that subject and become spiritual and attain Lord Shri Krishna. That is the only way to, not even understand. I wouldn't even say understand or know, because nobody can understand and nobody can know any of this. You can only get like a dot. that much of experience, that much of understanding. That is the truth about it. And this devotional service comes with the merit, it comes with the grace. And do not discount that grace. Don't throw that grace out of the window. It is very rare to get that grace. The divinity comes, he gives you that grace, but what you do, you throw him out of your life. Don't ever do that. It's very sad. Please remember, what you're falling is falling prey to the illusion, which is the Lord's Maya. So you know what, when you have to come and go on the path of spirituality, this is a test of the gurus, checking out your spiritually deservability. Whether you're spiritually deserving or not is what the divinity will check themselves. It is not anybody for us to check. But please understand, when you go and try to search, you have to come back to the same point where you have left, saying that with your self-conceit and deceit that I am not going to learn or I am not going to do this. That is not how it works. Devotion is a very beautiful subject, and my Krishna Guruji says, if you're Ishta or if you're devoted, whoever you're devoted, whether it is Sai Baba, Ram Krishna Paramahamsa Ji, Ramana Maharishi, or Lord Shri Krishna, whatever form of Lord Shri Krishna, you just have to hold on to that. That is about being devoted. Here we are talking about how these two princes, the two boys, were devoted to Lord Shankara. That is the merit. That is what Parashar Muni Rishi is saying here to the king. Having such a boon is very rare indeed. It's not for everybody who gets that blessing. When you have it, you have to, take it and never lose that grace. It is very easy to discard that grace and throw that grace out of our life. Never ever do that. Parashar Rishi told the king about the previous lives of the prince and the minister's son. In the bygone times, there lived a courtesan who was very beautiful. She was very intelligent, shrewd and artful, and was very good in singing and dancing. She used to attract many people. The courtesan had a Natya Mandap. She had two pets, one a monkey and other a cock. She taught them also to dance. She used to deck both of them with Rudraksha malas. One day, a rich merchant came to be entertained by her. He had an ornament in the form of Shivalinga, made of precious stones, which he was wearing on his neck. He was wearing Rudraksha malas and was having Bhasma Tripundra marks on his forehead. Looking at all these signs of piety, the woman felt a liking and attraction for him. She particularly felt a strong fascination for his Shivalinga ornament made of precious stones. She told him if he gifted that ornament to her, she would live with him for 3 days as his mate. He wanted for her an oath of assurance that she would keep the bargain faithfully. She agreed, and after her taking oath by placing her hand on the Shivlinga, the merchant gifted her the precious ornament and she started to live with him. The first night went off happily and well for both of them. On the second night, unfortunately, when they were asleep, the Natya Mandap caught fire and the fire started spreading to where the Shivlinga ornament was kept, and it was also about to be caught up in the flames. The merchant tried to retrieve the ornament from the spreading fire, but he too was caught in the flames and was burned to death. The courtesan woman was aghast at this sudden tragedy. As she promised him that she would be his woman for 3 days, and as he died during this period, she resolved herself to take Sahagamana with him, like a faithful wife. Meanwhile, all neighbors gathered around, and seeing her preparing herself for the Sahagamana along with her merchant customer, they tried to stop her, telling her that she was not a wedded wife to him and she should not take to such an extreme step. But they could not prevail upon her, and she jumped into the fire. But lo, instantly, who was it? Lord Shankara appeared there. How beautiful. This is called bhakti. You can be a courtesan, you can be whoever you want, but when you have that absolute devotion, to the divine Lord Almighty, He is always with you. Look, it doesn't matter what profession you are into. It is about bhakti. Are you serving that swadharma of yours? Your body is born with certain karma and whatever the duties associated to that. Even after being the courtesan, she was devoted to Lord Shankara. Her faith was in the divinity. What are we discussing here? Devotional service. Similarly, Lord Shri Krishna, Kubja was the courtesan, not a courtesan, she was already a bent, but yes, they said Kubja is a prostitute. She is not, but that is her profession. But does it really matter? When Lord Shri Krishna, was coming, both Balram and Lord Shri Krishna were coming to meet Kamsa when he had called them to Mathura. At that time, Lord Shri Krishna saw Kubja, washed all the king's clothes and she was taking it to be given to the king. At that time, Lord Shri Krishna looks at Kubja and says, can you give us this garments we would like to wear? Because look, we can't go and meet the king in such garments. He will not appreciate, he will not like it. So then Kubja was initially hesitant, but later, smitten by the beautiful divine love, she immediately fell for Lord Shri Krishna. She just said, yes, of course, I will give you, but please remember to return it back to me. And that was her goodness. And Lord, look, this is the way of testing the divine, the beings, the true devotees of the divine master. They test you. And at that time she gave, what did Lord Shri Krishna did? He just held her up like that. She was bent, she was completely bent and she was looking ugly. Lord Shri Krishna literally, pulled her up cheek like this, he did. And she transformed into the most beautiful woman, completely beautiful. And then she invited Lord Shri Krishna to her house. And Lord Shri Krishna very graciously went and accepted her. What does that mean? It is about her bhakti. What is that she can offer? Whatever that she had, she offered to the divine Lord Almighty. And he accepted her devotion. So devotion is this pure. It is not about the way, the material worldly way, how people look at devotion is to divinity. You don't understand the truth about what spirituality means. You people go by everything that is mentioned, as is in this Vedas, which is misconstrued by your mind because you have not been taught or you have not learned under the real master. So people misinterpret these scriptures and exploit whatever is being mentioned according to their own benefits or according to their own mind's ways of believing in it. So it's only your mind's way, mind's concoction, the stories that your mind throws up. So where have you actually made an effort to learn? But that is why, because we are misunderstanding the Vedas, interpreting, and so what we do is we end up getting the wrong knowledge. It is not the right knowledge. What you're misinterpreting is about what is being mentioned. The same thing which is telling you to go on the path of spiritual, you're misconstruing that and misinterpretation happens. And then what are you doing? You're following something completely against that. And then you're telling it is mentioned in the Vedas or scriptures. Please remember, every religion is only there so that everybody follows the path to attain the divine Lord Almighty. Every religion leads to that one God Almighty alone. Everybody's name of, worshipping him is different. The G-O-D. I will call Krishna, somebody will call Buddha, somebody will call Shankara, somebody can call Jesus, somebody can call him Allah. Everybody is one alone. Why don't we understand this truth? It is about God is to each his own. How do you want to see? And then Kubja transformed into this beautiful woman. Lord Shri Krishna, literally redeemed her. This is the purity. That is her love which the Lord seeks. He is not looking at, what they have, what they don't have. It is what love can you offer? Can you give him? When the Lord asks, do you have the grace or goodness of heart to give him? That is how it is. Here also, what did Lord Shankara do? He came and tested her to see, whether she's keeping her promise. She made a promise to this, sorry, who's this person? Yeah, the merchant. She made a promise to this rich merchant that she will be with him for 3 days. And because he died, even though she might not have married to him, but it was her promise. This is called that truth that you stand for. You have to stand your word. And in spirituality, when you give a word to your divine, your God, your guru, you need to keep to that. And if you don't keep, then you can't even, live the word of S of spiritual also. That is what spirituality teaches us all about. And she was doing, when she wanted to go and jump in the fire along with that merchant. What happened? Lo, Lord Shankara appeared. Who do you think it was? Lord Shankara, testing her bhakti. This is the truth. You know what the world will think? How can a courtesan have the darshan of the God? That is your understanding, petty understanding. But her bhakti is the highest. She was doing her dharma, swadharma, whatever the duties, the prarabdha, the karma of that body she was going through. But she was devoted to Shankara. The courtesan woman was aghast. Okay, so as she promised him that she would be his woman for 3 days, and as he died during this period, she resolved herself to take Sahagamana with him like a faithful wife. Meanwhile, all neighbors gathered around, and seeing her preparing herself for the Sahagamana along with her merchant customer, they tried to stop her, telling her that she was not a wedded wife to him, and she should not take to such an extreme step. But they could not prevail upon her, and she jumped into the fire. But lo, instantly Lord Shankara appeared there, caught hold of her hand, and pulled her out of that fire. How beautiful that is. This is called love. This is called bhakti, where you can make the God appear in front of you. Do you have that kind of devotion? This is what he's teaching here. The level of devotion you need to. Can you cry for God? Can you seek him alone? You nothing in the world. You might have everything, but nothing can appeal to you. That is bhakti. I'm sorry. With your bhakti, you have to make your Baba or Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, anybody come and stand in front of you. That is called the power of bhakti. Can you make your Lord Shri Krishna come, in front of you? Do you have that level of bhakti? That is what that is when it shows how much of devotion do you have. It is not for the God to give you that, that vision, grace, whatever we always keep asking God. First, what is that you can offer to the God? It's not about your money or anything. Can you become so devoted that the divinity itself will manifest for you? You should make them appear in front of you. That is the level of devotion and bhakti you need to have. Not just telling that, I am devoted to Baba. Baba is there. Baba will take care of me, or for your petty things. You think Baba will take care of all your petty things. Even when Baba appears, you will not have the grace to see him or recognize because of your ego and arrogance. This is the truth about life. Baba comes, he gives you that grace, and what do? You chuck it out of the window. That is what people do in this world, unfortunately. It's very sad, but nothing can be done. God only can save them. God help them to recognize, wake up from that Maya. Maya, darling, is taking charge. Be lost in that Maya. Who cares? They tried, but they could not prevail upon her, and she jumped into the fire. But lo, instantly, Lord Shankara appeared there, caught hold of her hand, and pulled her out of the fire. Lord Shankara said that he was very much pleased with her, that though she was a courtesan, yet she kept up so steadfastly and unswervingly to the vow of truth, and was determined to sacrifice her life for the pledge word. This is the power of bhakti. Her word, her truth she kept up. Truth. Oh, today the truth has actually gone out of the window. People are living a very deceitful life, full of lies. Any human being on this planet Earth, my Krishna Guruji has taught one very beautiful thing. Never judge by somebody saying the truth or somebody saying lies, because you need to have equanimity of mind, because the truth is only the versions of what you believe truth is according to your mind's creation. So there is no truth and falsehood in this world. Everything is unreal alone. That is why in spirituality we are taught to have equanimity of mind, because the truth that we are talking is the only truth. The Param Satya is about the divinity, realizing that God, who is the only truth in this world, everything else is Maya. That is what you need to understand. And we are into this Maya Jal. We are always entangled into that, the meshes of Maya. where we don't understand, even when God has come and given you the grace and everything, yet we'll be disillusioned because of our own mind and our, that is called, the mind's creation, which is never going to allow you to see the truth. Unfortunately, that is what happens. So what is that you need to seek? Seek the grace of your Guru, seek the grace of your God, to show him, to grant that grace so that you recognize the truth and not fall into the clutches of Maya, because it is Lord's Maya, his yoga Maya, the power of his Maya is very strong. That is why we say it is the Lord's Maya. How can you overcome Maya? Is very well we have learnt in every single scripture, and even in Guru Charitra. Guru is the doorway to God. And how do you attain that? By Guru Seva and Guru Bhakti. What is Guru Seva? Service unto the lotus feet of this master. Ashram doesn't mean in some conglomerate going to some place with fake gurus who is wearing a veshabhush and then you're doing some nonsense over there. Ashram means come and put effort, do the sadhana to evolve on the path of spirituality. Ashram also means come and take refuge at the lotus feet of your Gurudev and Lord Shri Krishna. Ashram also means that you have to put self-effort. Ashraya means you come and take refuge at the lotus feet of the Guru. And the ashram also means it is the place where your Guru resides, that is his abode. And you have to come and work out. You have to put self-effort. The Guru is going to beat the pulp of your ego, and can you take it? At that time, you think I come from America, I come from London, I come from some other planet, and people come with all sorts of egos. And what happens then? The Guru is going to test you. He is going to beat the pulp of your ego. Are you capable to handle it? And then it is not everybody has to go through this journey. It's a process. It is a process of overcoming our ego, mind, arrogance, senses, and conquering our 6 inner enemies. What are those? Likes, dislikes, your anger, then what is it? Envy, pride, jealousy, whatever, and then not ego, I think there's one more I missed, I'm sorry, but I will tell you. So these are the 6 inner enemies, desires. You have to overcome, you have to conquer them. And once you conquer them, you have to attain the mastery over your sense organs, your sensory, your senses which is running outwards, and you have to draw them inwards. You think spirituality is so easy, to attaining devotion is so easy. No, it is not. It is even more tougher. But let me tell you, in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Shri Krishna says, what is difficult and painful in the beginning is nectarine sweet at the end. But that is what spirituality is all about. You will become disgusted with this material world, and you will only want to attain that one divinity. And then nothing else will affect you. Nothing else will bother you. People can call you names. People can say all sorts of things about it. Doesn't matter to you anymore. And in one of the beautiful lessons in Uddhav Gita recently, my Krishna Guruji was talking about, and in that Lord Shri Krishna was giving a story about a Brahmin and how people started treating him in a very bad manner, and then he's not even allowed to say a word. And that is one very important lesson which my Krishna Guruji he imparts to me also, constantly saying people can behave however they want. You should not say one word bad against them, and don't tell them anything. You just need to have equanimity of mind, because they are talking about whatever they say. They are talking to this body. I am not the body is the truth you need to understand. And how do you understand I am not the body, that I am that spirit? Spirituality is all about understanding that I am that spirit and not the body. And when you realize I am that Paramatma, I am the Atman, which is nothing but that Paramatma, when you understand that, then how does whatever anybody call you affect you? Because I am not this body, I am not RajShree. Who is RajShree? I am not the one who has given me this name. I am not. I don't know who I am. Who is this I? That is the truth you have to realize. And when you subdue your ego, when nothing affects you, believe me, you are closer to the divinity. You have to become disgusted with this material world. This material world is not worthy at all to be. But you have to go through this painful existence. Only then can you come to the divine. God realization can happen. That is the truth about life. And so, do you have this power? Like, Kubja, Shri Krishna blessed her. He literally transformed her into this most beautiful woman. She became beautiful instantly. with a touch of the divine. He removes all your afflictions. Or here, Lord Shankara appeared, and what does Lord Shankara say to her? You know what he says? Lord Shankara appeared there, caught hold of her hand and pulled her out of fire. Lord Shankara said that he was very much pleased with her, that though she was a courtesan, yet she kept up so steadfastly and unswervingly to the vow of truth. You need to keep up to the vow of truth. Anything that you commit, you have to stand by that. It is very easy to fall down. You know why? Because when you give a word to the God, we can never keep up that. Because to keep the word, the promise that you commit to the God is not so easy, because your mind is going to make you act against that. It is going to ensure that you don't follow what you have promised. That is what the mind's job is. That is the demon. Indra will play, and that is Maya. Because the Maya wants you to be always adherent to her and never to attain the divinity. But what can move? That such tests are going to come in your life, and how will you stand that? Please recognize at that time all this is Maya, but keep up to that word of that Lord. He will come and save you. He will redeem you. He will grant you to recognize him. He himself will show who he is to you. But is your bhakti of that highest order? And was determined to sacrifice her life for the pledge of that word. He said that he only wanted to test her and created the fire artificially. What was it? He created that fire artificially. He just wanted to test her to see what is her bhakti. Where does she stand? Because you know what? When such test comes, people become selfish and they will run away from that promise. Then what? Oh, why should I give life for somebody else? He is anyway dead and gone. Why should I give my life there? That is what a human mind will tell. Because we want to always care about this I, me, myself, my body. And this lesson is very beautifully again taught to Arjuna by Lord Shri Krishna. After the end of Mahabharat war, and when Kunti is crying completely, she's crying over her dead 100 sons. They were all dead. She was crying so much, and she goes to this, the Kurukshetra, and she doesn't know what to do. She's completely crying. At that time, Arjuna is telling Krishna, why can't we go and comfort? I want to go to her. Look at her. She's crying. She's lost her children. He's very upset about it. He's moved. So Lord Shri Krishna says, wait and watch. Nobody is sad about somebody's death. It is only momentary. See, everybody cares about their own body, their own survival. Okay, the human nature is such that, and Lord Shri Krishna gives Arjuna an experience. He said, just watch her now. She cries for an hour, and after some time, she is hungry. And at that time, she doesn't know what to do. She's completely hungry. Hunger takes her over. And then she sees a tree, and there is some fruit on the tree. But she can't reach out for that fruit. You know what she does? She drags the dead bodies of her sons, piles up one on the top of the other, and then she climbs on that dead bodies and she plucks that fruit and eats. What does it tell you? It tells you that we give our body the first priority. Even you can let it be your dead son, but there is no such great mother who will say, I don't want to eat. She cares about herself. Like, that is human nature. Please understand. We care about our bodily requirements. We are very selfish people. I want to first save myself. That is how we think. We cannot look at the world. That is not the way how this human body, the human beings are made. So Lord Shri Krishna says that, we are all wanting to first save ourselves, make sure that my hunger is satisfied. So no, but don't say that, Kunti is, don't pity and think that, oh, she's completely crying, she's not eaten food, her sons are dead. But look, she will save herself. This is the truth about the world. And here, so what Lord Shankara is saying, that you did not care about any of that. You kept your promise. Your devotion is the highest. Your word is the truth. You lived that truth, the word. That is why we say, when any word comes from your mouth and when you promise to your Gurudev or to the God that I will do this, please remember to keep it. Otherwise, you're going to incur sins and karma. Never forget what you have committed. You know what is again the nature? When we are in a very happy mood, when you are in a very happy condition, when you think that God has given you a good job and good money and everything, you will make a lot of promises. But the day you get your salary, you will forget that promise. You will not give him, you will not remember the divine. You will remember your boyfriend, you will remember your girlfriend, and you will remember the lotus feet, your husband and wife. And you want to give them gifts. But the one lotus feet that you have to remember, you will not remember at that moment in time. This is the reality about the life. This is the truth about the life. And here, what is Lord Shankara saying? The two important things has been taught here. One is the devotion. And to get the devotion is the most important thing. And second is truth. How do you keep up your word? When you promise something to the divine Lord Almighty, live that promise, do that. Till you don't do, then you can't perfect yourself. So you have to do that in your life, no matter who it. This lesson is for you, me, everybody, those who are listening to this satsang and those who are going to listen to this satsang, those who have a guru or even don't have a guru. Because when you commit something to the divine Lord Almighty, please keep to that. So he said that he only wanted to test her and created that fire artificially, as he was pleased with her for her devotion to truth. Her devotion to truth, that her word was so important. She has given a word, no matter who she is, doesn't matter. She said she promised on that Shivlinga. And who is her Ishta? Shivlinga is Lord Almighty, Shivji himself, and she kept to that devotion to truth. He promised to grant her any boon she would ask of him. She said to Shiva that she had no desire at all except that she, along with all her relations, friends and servants, should be blessed with Kailasha Pada. Thus, she attained Kailash with all her people and won liberation for herself and all of them too. What does this mean? What she asked is the most beautiful thing, which talks about her selflessness and her goodness of heart. She did not ask, Kailash Pada to attain only for herself, but all her people associated. See, everybody should get God realization, because we need to get redeemed from this material worldly existence. So her goodness of heart, she asked for others as well, that they all should attain God realization and one liberation for not herself but all her people. This is what you have to seek when the divine comes. And that is a teaching here, that you can't selfishly ask for a boon for yourself. God is going to give the boon. But what are you going to ask? Isn't that same story as Ambri, the Deepak, the chapter 2, where, Ved Dharma, who is this Gurudev, testing Deepak, and then what happens when Shivji and everybody comes and tells him, we are very pleased with your service. What is the boon you want to ask us? And then Deepak goes to his Gurudev and says, look, gods have come and they want to give the boon. You tell me what I can do. I said I cannot. I will only first ask the permission of my Gurudev and come. And then what does Deepak say? I don't want anything for myself. Can I ask for your sickness to be cured? That is the goodness. That is what a selfless being is. He is desireless. And his Gurudev was so proud and pleased. This is the Guru Bhakti. This is the kind of human being you have to be. Forget about spirituality. In this, yes, spirituality is one aspect, but this talks about what kind of goodness of heart you should have, what kind of purity of heart you should have, so that you can attain God realization. And that is what it is. But we only want to fill our petty desires. So we go with a big begging bowl. Oh, I want this, I want that. Endless, bottomless pit we become. Never ever do that. Seek what is that. When you ask for the well-being of everybody. Don't ask only for your selfishness, selfish desires to be fulfilled. And most important, ask for the grace where you can attain God realization. And be very devoted. The most two important lessons we learned in this, a devotion, and how do you be devoted to the truth of your word that you give. Keeping up your promise to your Guru, keeping up your promise to your great divine Lord Almighty is the most important thing. And if you can't do, never open your mouth and say. And if you open your mouth and say, please see to that you will give, or you do that task. My Krishna Guruji always has said, there is not a single person who has kept the promise. That includes me as well, many a time. Yes, it is not about not doing it when I want it. It is about doing it in time that matters. Otherwise, that moment is lost. And then after you do, then it incurs sin and karma. That's exactly what is even mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. So please, if you commit to do something, please keep up to that, live that word. It is extremely important. You have to walk the talk. Then Parasara Rishi further told the king that when the fire burned the Natya Mandap, the courtesan's pets, the Markat, the monkey, and the Kukut, the cock, also died in the fire. But as they had the Rudraksha malas around their necks, and especially at the moment of death, it won for them great merit. The Markat was born as the king's son, and the Kukut was born as the son of the chief minister. Such was the power of Rudraksha, said Parashara Rishi to the king. Thus ends the 33rd chapter of Shree Guru Charitra describing Rudraksha Mahima. Glory to the All-Merciful, the Omnipresent and the Ever-Responsive Guru Nath. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. It was a very important lesson, and please, cogitate, contemplate and evolve on your path of spirituality. So with that, we end today's chapter. Tomorrow is Tuesday. So I will see you for the Satsang, Guru Charitra Satsang at 9:15 a.m. Thank you for joining Guru Charitra Satsang. Once again, have a happy Monday. Om Shri Mahaganapate Namaha. Om Shri Gurudev Datta. Om Shri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Digambara Digambara Shripad Vallabha Digambara. Om Shri Krishna Gurunath Nathaya Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Devi Durgaya Namaha. Om Shri Krishna Arpanam Namastu. Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum.